but not for much longer, because this is our Coach Carol segment. Coach Carol Phillips is in the house here at the Beacon Building in downtown Manchester. I love that sparkly red sweater you're wearing today. You put me in the holiday spirit.
I thought you were going to talk about the music again.
The music? I love the music.
It's
you
fun.
know, I love the music.
Yes, I don't know. I'm still in denial that Thanksgiving is next week, but
no.
I know.
Oy vey.
Really,
crazy.
Really, you look like you should be on TV. You should be like Kelly's partner today or something. You know, with that beautiful
the
red sweater. Little, is it a black dress you have on?
No, pants.
Oh, okay.
Pants
All right. Pantsuit.
But it does scream Christmas, doesn't it?
It does. It does. It really does. You brightened up the entire studio.
Yeah, well, you're looking pretty dapper today, too, I must say.
Tie, a shirt, the goatee going.
Yes,
and
absolutely. You should be on TV
Everybody
today, Ken.
looks wonderful.
Not radio.
Everybody looks wonderful. That's it.
Absolutely.
We've all, speaking for myself, I have a great face for radio, so there you go.
You're not nice enough to
But
yourself.
the rest of you are great. So. So what do we have cooking today, Carol? I know we have a guest, but first I know you have a few things here.
Well, I wanted to ask you how you were doing with the time change. We talked at length last show about that, and we talked about how we both dislike changing the clocks this time of year.
I just, I don't really, it doesn't really affect me in any way, other than I would like it to have a little bit more light at the end of the day than at the start of the day.
Me too.
Because I don't necessarily have to get up all that early, you know? I mean, I feel badly for those who do. I used to have to get up at 4 for many, many years, but now I don't. I have to get up at 4.
So did it...
I don't even have to get up till noon if I don't want to. But most days I do.
So does it bother you physically?
It really doesn't. It really doesn't.
See, with me, it does.
It's more psychological for me.
Yeah.
Because I hate to leave the building at 5 and it's dark.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd rather have a little more light at that end.
Yeah. I need a week to catch up.
Thing.
My sleep's off. And,
is it? Yeah.
Yep. So now I've learned to just go with it.
So that's when how about when you go forward? It must be even worse when we lose an hour. We gained an hour this time, but when you lose an hour.
It takes me about a week each time.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
So twice a year, it's annoying, but...
It is annoying.
We've adjusted.
Get rid of it.
We've
I think
adjusted.
That'll be our mission to try. Under the new administration, we'll try to get rid of that time change.
Right.
Yes.
So, yeah, between that and we're not going to talk about the election, but I wanted to touch on how everybody needs to de-stress. It's been a very stressful year.
I feel good. I tell you, I feel terrific. I couldn't be happier.
Yep.
I mean, if the Celtics had won last night, I would have been a little happier. But, other than that, I'm good.
Yeah.
I feel refreshed.
That's awesome.
Renewed.
There you go.
Rejuvenated.
And for the rest of the country,
I think how Melania feels. I bet she's stressed.
No matter where I go. I run into the same thing no matter where I go.
We need to just get back to focusing on ourselves and being positive, moving in a positive direction, because the stress really is unhealthy. So no matter what's going on, we really do need to focus on ourselves and not letting it affect our health.
I would agree. I would agree wholeheartedly.
And speaking of de-stressing,
yes.
Our first caller today to join in the conversation with our guest will get a free copy of my audiobook.
All right.
So call in today.
Is that a free download?
A free download.
Free download?
It's an easy download. You download it right to your device. And,
52 Simple Ways to Health.
52 Simple Ways to Health. Call
and
us at...
prosperity.
Not that time of year yet.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
The New Year's going to be here
all right.
soon enough. Give us a call today, 1-866-823-1077. Join our conversation. So the other thing I wanted to mention is the latest article on my website is 10 wellness tips for small businesses. So small businesses who really don't usually have a formal wellness program, tips that can really help them reduce costs and increase productivity. So if you go to AskCoachCarol.com and click on the blog posts, you'll see that there are 10 wellness tips for small businesses.
All right, very good. And I know there are quite a few small business people who do listen to this station and this program, so that's great. So just to AskCoachCarol.com.
Right. The focus needs to be on the wellness of the employees because they're your greatest asset, but they can also be your biggest expense.
Yeah, without question.
Yeah.
Without question. So anything else on the agenda?
That's it for my miscellaneous.
That's the miscellaneous part of our program. You know, most of this
Miscellaneous
program, you know,
items.
not when you're here necessarily, but most of this program is kind of miscellaneous, you know? It's kind of a miscellaneous program.
It's a beautiful patch quilt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's a patch quilt.
It's a patch quilt
I like that.
of fun, and we make people laugh. What greater reason do you need to be on the air?
Make them feel good and laugh. Yeah.
Well, you guys are definitely fun. I was listening to you last hour, and
Wow.
it's, yeah.
I heard laughing is like jogging inside.
Award-winning radio right there. Submit that last half hour, J-Dog. Maybe we'll get an award this time.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like it.
Better
Okay.
better if you submit this hour. Better chance of getting an award this hour than the last hour.
Oh, I don't know.
Because
That's
I'm not going to say much after we finish here.
the last hour was pretty good. So we'll see.
Okay.
All right, we'll
Okay.
leave it. It'll be a contest.
Okay.
All right. So without further ado, I'm really happy to introduce my guest. Olga McSorley is an assistant professor for the Doctor of Physical Therapy program at Franklin Pierce University, right here in Manchester. She graduated from Sargent College at Boston University with her BS in 1992, her master's in physical therapy in 1993, and her doctorate in 2005, and is a candidate in the Doctor of Education in Leadership and Learning at Riviera University.
Outstanding. Wow,
That's
what a
lot.
resume.
It's crazy.
Man,
It's crazy,
man.
exciting. Olga also has more than 23 years experience as a physical therapist, working in outpatient, acute care, and rehab settings. Her primary clinical interests are in outpatient orthopedics, aquatics, and maternal health. She has presented at various regional and national professional conferences. And I'm excited that she's here also because I get to work with her a couple times a year teaching the first aid and CPR classes over at Franklin Pierce University. So welcome, Olga.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
really
for
honored
being
to be
here.
here.
Well, great to have you, Olga.
Thanks.
Tell us a little bit about how you ended up falling in love with physical therapy.
Okay. I don't know if students out there will know this term anymore. I was a candy striper back in the day.
Oh, really?
Sure,
I know that
yes.
term.
And I had wanted to either be placed in pediatrics or pharmacy. And somehow they put me in physical therapy instead, and I could not be any happier. So it was a really wonderful way to find an opportunity to work with people and help them get better without having to give them shots.
Yeah, there you
Too
go.
keen on that. And without being expected to do overnight on-call shifts for 36 hours. So win-win for me.
So for those of us, for those who don't know what a candy
What a
striper
candy striper
is,
yes, this will definitely reveal your generational references. Candy striper were hospital volunteers, and we literally wore red and white striped little jumpers when we were out on the floor so that the patients all knew that we were volunteers and there to help them. I do believe that is long gone now, but it's still a fun memory for me.
and for a lot of young women, it was their first job.
Right.
You know, because you could be a candy striper at what was it, like 14 or 15?
Yep.
So before you could, get a job where you had to be 16, you can go and get some experience that way.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those were the days. And then the nurses had their uniforms, and so
So yeah, they were modeled somewhat after the nurses' uniforms again back in the day, but it
That
just
wasn't
made it
that
fit.
long ago, Olga. It
It's
wasn't that long
feeling
ago.
it. I got to tell you, I'm teaching students now who were born after I got married. So yeah, I'm kind of feeling it right now.
it puts things into perspective,
really
doesn't
does.
it?
Yeah.
I had one of those aha moments when one day my daughter called me and she was all excited, and I said, what's going on? And she said, I just got my 10-year high school reunion invitation. And I'll tell you, my jaw dropped to the floor. I was like, well, I can't. 10 years already? That's crazy. But it flies by.
It absolutely does.
flies by.
Can't wait for my 10-year reunion. I'm looking forward to that from high school. But where were you a candy striper?
Oh, Vineland, New Jersey.
Okay.
So way South Jersey.
Because I remember
Super excited,
in the
yeah.
local paper I grew up, the Melrose Free Press, and it was a weekly paper, And every week they had the list of the candy stripers in the newspaper. Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of paper it was. It was a real local-oriented paper, you know.
Interesting.
And the list of the candy stripers.
Nope, never made
Did you make it? Never made it in the newspaper? Oh,
not for that.
Jeez, not for that. Not for that. Well, what did you make it to the newspaper for? May we ask?
We try not to talk about the police log.
The police log. That's good. I like that. So, Olga, tell us about the program at Franklin Pierce University and how physical therapy today might be different than years ago when you were a candy striper.
Sure. Happy to talk about it. So at this point, all physical therapy programs in the country are actually doctorate level programs. So to enter, you need to have a bachelor's degree in something. And most programs have very similar requirements to enter, but you don't have to have had a strict science or biology undergrad degree to get in. There used to be a phrase for physical therapy for the American Physical Therapy Association, where we said it was the art of caring and the science of healing. I might have just flipped that, but it is a beautiful blend of the biological sciences, the clinical knowledge that we need to repair the human body, but also the compassion and empathy that we need to really develop that therapeutic relationship with our patients or clients. I'm really proud that our program at Franklin Pierce is really grounded in the ideals of community service and professionalism in all that we do, as well as clinical excellence. So we've got a really strong, we have some amazing faculty, some who have presented internationally, have written textbooks, just tremendous people who are also down to earth. So it's a really great community. And our students will almost to a person tell you that it's really a family environment in our program. So we really we push them hard. It is definitely a tough program. There's no way around that. It's a doctorate program that's done in 27 months. Wow. So they hit the ground running.
Yes.
And, summer vacation, that doesn't exist. So for my first year students, sorry, heads up. I hope you enjoyed this past summer because it's going to be a while. But again, it keeps them really immersed in the field, and we look for multiple opportunities to interact with people in the community who have these diagnoses, these chronic illnesses that some students didn't even realize physical therapists work with. So it's a really great way to really expand our students' minds into just how expansive physical therapy really is. Most people, if you think about physical therapy, you're thinking about the weekend warrior. Maybe you pulled your back, shoveling out ice. Maybe you got a little too ambitious with that run last weekend, things like that. But we cover, from birth to death. We cover all body systems. And so it's a really great opportunity to really show our students and the community that physical therapy can be there for you wherever you are in life. From treatment, yes, but wellness and prevention. So I know this is right up your alley. There's a lot that we can do, that we're trained to do, to help prevent illness and maintain wellness and give people the confidence to know that they can pursue the activities that they love for as long as possible.
Right, and it all goes around quality of life.
Yep.
And I've said this before, one thing I love about physical therapy is the focus is on fixing the problem, getting to the root of the problem in a natural way, not masking it.
Right.
For example, when people go in for surgery, years ago it was a lot of, go home and rest. Go home and rest until everything's better. Well, the body was designed to move.
Right.
So oftentimes resting too much ends up causing new problems.
Yes, exactly.
So getting people into physical therapy right afterwards obviously can make a huge difference.
And even talking about having surgery, there is a lot of evidence, and there's a big push in many of our local hospitals to really advocate for early mobility. So we're talking about patients who had triple bypass or hip replacement, and we're coming in and getting them up the same day.
Yeah.
So really a completely different paradigm shift to what, again, people used to think that, okay, we need complete rest for the next 3 days before we even think about having the person sit up. And outcomes are very, very clear that people will recover faster and better if we can get them moving sooner. And again, so the last thing someone's thinking about when they're coming out of anesthesia is a physical therapist saying, all right, let's go, we've got to take a walk. But it's worth it.
Right, absolutely. And I was talking to the other day, I was talking to a friend of mine, Kathy Lear, who owns Family Physical Therapy Services, and she was talking about the importance of people focusing on physical therapy as soon as they know they need surgery, so that they're going into surgery stronger, because then they're going to heal more quickly.
Right. That's a concept we call prehabilitation. So exactly that. A lot of our hospital physical therapy departments will they'll know the physician protocols, and I shouldn't just say the hospitals, a lot of the private practices too that work regularly with physicians in the area will know what the protocols are for following the surgery, but also what they can do to strengthen the muscles that the body will need to support while they are recovering from the surgery at hand. So the stronger we can get someone's hips or ankles or whatever before the knee or hip surgery, and the stronger we can get the other side before a particular surgery, again, the better their recovery.
Terrific.
What path, let's say somebody is listening right now that is in high school and thinking about going down this path for their career, which would be a very good one. What should they be studying at that point in high school? What are some of the things they should be focusing on?
Oh, in high school.
Yeah,
That's
in high school.
Great question.
Yeah.
Well, clearly they should be taking a look at those sciences and not just, ticking off the one they need to graduate for the program. I'm talking to my son on this one. Certainly the biology track is important. If there are options to take any kind of anatomy courses, that's great. But we actually, believe it or not, we do need to know some chemistry. We do need to know some physics. So that's important to have some foundation in as well. I personally would strongly recommend, if it's available, to take any kind of psychology classes as well. Again,
I would think that'd be right at the top of the list.
Exactly. The human interaction is critical. The last thing you want is a physical therapist with no bedside manner.
Right, and then them helping their patients to adhere to the exercise program.
Yes, there's such a big component. We have a specific course in our curriculum called Psychosocial Aspects of Rehabilitation that we do need to understand the whole person. And it's not, the shoulder in room 17. It's the person with a shoulder problem. It's the child with cystic fibrosis. It's, the lady with dementia. It's not the demented lady. Yeah. So it's really, again, having that holistic view.
And that kind of mushrooms out to family. I mean, I'm thinking of my own father who fired his physical therapist. and my mother didn't know how to cope with it. So she's calling my sister, who lives 15 minutes, come down here. Your father just fired his physical therapist. You've got to talk to him.
So why did he fire her?
Because he didn't like what she was making him do. It was a knee, I think his second knee replacement or something like that. And so, so my mother was like, well, okay.
Yeah, because sometimes in the beginning, the exercises don't feel so good.
Oh, yeah. No. So, I mean, no one lives in a vacuum.
Right.
No one in a vacuum at all.
Right. So let's take it one step further then. You go to high school and you take the biology courses, just the biology courses that are provided. And you want to pursue the physical therapy. What do you take in college?
Well, again, you can take a lot of different things. Yeah. There are a lot of different paths to physical therapy since it is a graduate program. Some of the most common that we'll see are kinesiology or exercise physiology. Certainly a biology degree, anything like that will certainly help with some of that groundwork. One of the things that I think many students are surprised about is they're required to have an anatomy and physiology course with lab to get into. I can't imagine there's a PT school that doesn't require it. And then they arrive to grad school and they say, well, I already had anatomy in college. I'm fine. This is good. And wow, do they get a wake-up call. So certainly, even if you're not majoring in a science degree like that, taking those kinds of courses is critical. And on the flip side, if you are in a science-heavy degree program, like I mentioned earlier, you can't discount the value of the humanities, of taking the psychology, of taking good composition English courses. There's so much documentation, and there's so many different ways that we present information to our patients or the community. And if you can't craft a good paragraph, you're in trouble. So again, we definitely have had students in our program whose undergrad degree was in a liberal arts, so English or history. We get folks who are second career folks. So they were a teacher. We've had engineers who made the switch to physical therapy. We've had counselors. So there are a lot of different paths to our program. Some people just don't know what they want.
Right.
Imagine that, an 18-year-old who doesn't know what they want.
Hard to believe.
Actually, that is hard to believe because they all think they know what they want. But, as they mature and realize that there's something bigger than themselves and, I didn't realize that this is part of what PT can do, they'll find their way to us. And, it might take more time to get all the prerequisites in now that they figured out what they want to do. But I definitely find that those are the students who are more mature, who are more focused. They know what they want now, and they're going to do what they can to get it.
Right. Yeah, they've mentally bought into it. And, you mentioned anatomy and physiology. And, if people are thinking about going to a path, that ends up in physical therapy, if you do an undergrad that requires A&P, it's a lot of work, a lot of memorization. And one of the things that I did that helped me enormously, and I love sharing this tip with people because it can make it such a huge difference, is, get your notes ready, use a tape recorder, talk them into the tape recorder, and then just listen to them over and over and over and over again, because it's amazing how helpful that can be and how all of a sudden things will click in your brain, these concepts that will come together. But also, when it was time to take a test, it was enormously helpful to me. Or I would listen to my notes while I was doing housework. If I was tired at the end of the day and I was too tired to sit there looking at my notes, I would just turn the tape recorder on and lay on the couch and listen, because I needed to go over them before the next morning when the test was taking place. So A&P is a lot of work, but it's the foundation of everything. So I would imagine there's a huge difference between people who come to your program with A&P under their belt versus the people who haven't.
Well, again, everybody has to. They can't get into our program without having taken A&P with lab. So it's not an online course. You can't just do it that way.
So you said that some students come in with like a liberal arts.
Correct, but they will still need those prerequisites.
Okay.
So what happens is some people, again, maybe they've already completed their undergrad degree and then discovered physical therapy as their choice, and they'll take those prerequisites along the way. So they might take one course at a time or two at a time to get themselves ready to apply to a program like ours. So I think it was great what you were just mentioning with listening to your own notes. When I was in college, I got married the year between my bachelor's and my master's year, so I moved up to New Hampshire, but I was still commuting to Boston. And I recorded every single one of my kinesiology professor's lectures. She literally wrote the book we were using. So to hear her while I was driving, or to hear her while I was reviewing my notes at home, I can still hear her. I can still see her. I sometimes imitate her in class. So those are great. One of the things I teach is actually talking about learning styles and patient education and things like that. And knowing how you learn best is great. So whether it is, so for anatomy, I had an anatomy coloring book. I made little flashcards with the pictures of the muscle on one side and the facts about it on the other. Again, I would record myself. So it's important to know how you learn best, but it's also important to know how to integrate other learning styles into it to really enhance what you do. Some people kind of get in a rut with this is the only way to study. And again, sometimes those are the folks who get a little bit of a wake-up call with their first round of exams. Another thing, and shameless plug, one of the great things about our program is it's a really collaborative learning environment. We are a program that once you get in, there is no competition. It is up to you to pass. We're not saying we're looking to ditch 10% of you or whatever. So when students know that the competition's over, they're here. You're all here. We all want you to graduate. Work together, and you see that connection happen. That is a really great mark of our program. And again, we do receive a lot of very positive feedback about that. There's not that sense that I've got to watch out for that guy because he's after my spot. No, you're all here.
So that would be good professional training too, because when you go into a very large practice, your personalities, you need to work around you.
Yes.
It's a very collaborative environment.
Right. I like the team spirit more than where you're going to school and there's too much competition.
Right.
And there's awards for this and awards for that.
Right.
And then you always have people who they aren't focused on trying their hardest because they've already decided that they're a have-not. So they can't compete with the top 10% of the class. So they're not even going to bother. So now they're not even finding their own gifts within.
Oh, exactly. I happen to be taking a course right now for my doctorate on positive psychology, and it's really transforming for me how I want to present things to our students, so that instead of saying, I've just got to make the minimum, I don't want to fail. It's really building, like you said, building on their gifts, their strengths, and their talents, and say, here's what I can contribute to the collective. And here is, if everybody does that, then we all rise up together. So I'm really good at drawing diagrams, and she's really great at explaining concepts in a way that I can understand, but she can't draw her way out of a paper bag. So let's work together and improve each other's skills and knowledge and understanding.
Yeah, to me, that's a much more successful culture.
Absolutely.
And it allows people to find their own strengths, and especially when other people around you are celebrating them.
Exactly.
So,
all right, I'll jump in. We'll take a break and a very interesting discussion with Olga McSorley from Franklin Pierce University. Coach Carol is here. It's Ask Coach Carol. If you have any questions, 1-866-823-1077 is the number. And for the first person to call today, get an instant download of Coach Carol's double award-winning book. Double award. Internationally acclaimed bestseller, 52 Simple Ways to Health. We are back. 1-866-823-1077 is our number. I like that bright, happy music. It goes with your bright, happy, sparkling red sweater. Why did I say pink? Red sweater.
the audio to go with the visual.
That's it. And it's sparkling.
It is.
It
it's very
sparkles.
sparkly. It's very comfortable and warm, too.
Well, it does. It does look very warm here. But at any rate, Coach Carol is here, and Olga McSorley is with us from, you're not related to Marty McSorley, are you?
No, I disavow all connections completely.
Oh.
We tried, I will say this, we tried to pretend we had connections with him until he became a complete thug, and then we're like, no, I don't know this guy at all.
Do you know, my daughter has a Marty McSorley bobblehead doll.
Oh, really?
She does, yeah.
It'll be worth money someday.
It may be. It was at the time when he was the he was a thug when he played hockey. He truly was.
Oh, okay. Now I know who he is. Okay.
No, he was. So I wouldn't have said that if you were actually related to him. And I thought when she said I totally disavow any association, I thought she was.
Yeah.
But now since I know she's not, but actually, I met him when he used to coach the Springfield team in the American Hockey League after he was finished his playing career. And he actually, he turned out to be a nice guy. He really did. But as a player, he was a thug. He'd go after people with his stick, and he severely injured a couple of players during the course of his career. But
he didn't play nice in the sandbox.
He did not. He did not. He really didn't. But
I bet he got bonuses.
But Olga is nothing like Marty McSorley.
No,
nothing.
Thank you.
No. You needed physical therapy after playing against him.
That is true.
Continue, Carol.
So we're still waiting for somebody to give us a call.
We are.
Join our conversation. 1-866-823-1077. Call with a question for Olga or a comment about physical therapy. What was your experience going through physical therapy? Olga, give us your contact information before we go on.
Sure. So again, I am at Franklin Pierce University. The phone number there is 603-647-3553. It's my direct line. Not sure I should have given that out. Probably should have done the center number, but there you go.
We won't repeat it.
Exactly. Okay. Information about our program can be found on our website. So that is www.franklinpierce, which is PIERCE.edu. You'll find us under graduate programs, and there you'll see Doctor of Physical Therapy. I also would be remiss if I did not follow up on one of your questions earlier about programs to lead to physical therapy. Franklin Pierce does have a Pathways to DPT program.
Oh.
So there are, I believe they offer up to 20 spots. It's a relatively new program, so it's growing each year. But students can come to Franklin Pierce as an undergraduate, and if they've met the requirements, if they have the right GPA, letters of reference, things like that, they could apply for the Pathways program. And if they maintain their scholarly performance throughout, it gives them the opportunity to matriculate directly into our doctorate program or have an interview with our program director. So if they're not quite the highest tier, but they're pretty close, they can interview. And they can certainly also apply through the general program. Physical therapy is an extremely competitive graduate program to enter. The last numbers I'd heard were that there's only about a 50% acceptance rate. So for those students who really, really know that this is the profession they want, having that peace of mind of saying, okay, if I go to Franklin Pierce and I, maintain my grades and show what I'm made of, I have an opportunity to, I have a stronger shot of getting into a quality graduate program right out of the gate. Mm-hmm. So there we go. So hopefully now my bosses will be happy because I mentioned that.
Now, is it correct that with the graying of the state, there's got to be, they must be projecting quite a boom in the profession.
Well, we're trying
with the
not
aging.
to go into politics, but
okay.
that is true on its surface.
Yeah.
Certainly, the aging, not just of the state, but certainly of the nation. There had been some projections that, let me just say that physical therapy is certainly a field that is in demand, and we anticipate that the demand will continue as our boomers age, and as our Gen Xers like myself are getting up there too. There are definitely opportunities to stay active in the field. We'll put it that way.
Very politic, very
and also now we live in a society where, it used to be just you accepted it if you were getting older, and now you need to use a cane, and now you need to use a walker. Right. And it was just, I'm getting older, this is what I have to accept. And now people are focusing more on quality of life.
Exactly.
I mean, there was a study done once of people who had just started using canes and walkers, and they put them on an exercise program, strength training and balance. And at the end of the study, most of the people didn't need their canes and walkers anymore.
Imagine that.
Because, it's just, focusing on keeping the muscles as strong as possible, focusing on the balance, because obviously with elderly people, fall risk can create, the beginning of the end spiral.
Absolutely.
But, it's not always, something that they have to be dealing with for the rest of their life. They might, start focusing on, okay, why do I need a cane now? Why do I need a walker? Is this something I can reverse? And people are doing it all the time. So that's another great area where physical therapy can really make a huge difference in the quality of people's lives.
Definitely. Again, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of people think about physical therapy as where you go after you've been injured. So, I busted my shoulder, I busted my knee, my back's hurting me, let me go to physical therapy. But we're trained in wellness and prevention services. So, again, our program, we have a 2-course sequence in health promotion and wellness. And so our students go out, identify issues within their community that could benefit from our knowledge and skills, whether it's nutrition.
Very nutrition.
Early mobility.
Gotcha.
Oh, yeah. Nutrition's a big one. Body mechanics for, labor workers, things like that. As you mentioned earlier, as far as tips for the business place, for the small business, that's absolutely an area that physical therapists can come in and help train staff into better ways of moving and working that keep them healthy and productive longer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, say, for example, you had somebody who retired and they suffer from back pain. They might go to a physical therapist and discover that the work that they've done for the last 30 or 40 years kind of focused on one side of their body.
Right.
So now it's just simply muscle imbalance.
Right.
So now they just have to strengthen the other side of their body, and the back pain diminishes or goes away. And it really can be that simple.
Right. And actually, you remind me of another really critical thing. As you know, we have a very serious opioid crisis in New Hampshire. And the American Physical Therapy Association is really promoting the idea of, you'll see hashtag choose PT, and using physical therapy to address chronic back pain so that you minimize the exposure or risk of opioid addiction.
Right. So people don't need to be prescribed the drugs to begin with.
Exactly. That shouldn't be the first line of defense. Try physical therapy first.
Right. Absolutely.
And there you go. All right, we're going to jump in and take a final break here at 3:46. And a very interesting discussion today. We're talking physical therapy with Olga McSorley, part of the Ask Coach Carol segment. Now the home stretch. Ask Coach Carol. Coach Carol Phillips is with us. 3:52 is our time, and I know we just have a couple of minutes left, so Carol, take it away.
Yeah, call in before we run out of time today, 1-866-823-1077, and win a free digital download card of my audiobook of 52 Simple Ways to Health. Olga, before we run out of time, I wanted to ask you, what are some of the specialty areas your students go into after they graduate?
Oh, that's great. Again, most people know physical therapy in the sense of orthopedics or sports medicine, but we have a lot of students who end up going into neurologic rehab, pediatrics, women's health, aquatics. Again, that's my bias. I love aquatics. I will certainly encourage those who do that. And we are definitely in home health. We can work in nursing homes or subacute care facilities. Really name it. It's
And
just a
you
wonderful
mentioned the
thing.
aquatics, which is really important for people especially if they have like a knee injury. It can keep you from feeling like you have to stop exercising.
Exactly.
Get in the pool, non-weight bearing.
Exactly.
Can keep your body moving.
If you are in the water to your waist, you are 50% less weight bearing on that leg. Go into your chest and you're 70% lighter. Go to your neck and you're 90% lighter. So we can work with patients who are relatively recently out of surgery, have weight-bearing precautions, but we want to keep those muscles strong and moving so that as they're allowed to put more weight on, their muscles can handle it. So we'll work with them in the pool on things like that. It really is a fantastic medium to get a lot of different benefits for our patients. Again, I've worked with 6-year-olds up to 100-year-olds in the pool, having them do things they never thought they could do again. And it's fabulous to see them regain that function, regain that independence that they miss so much.
Mm-hmm. And, even somebody who's just getting a little older and they just think that age is working against them, go to a physical therapist and just kind of get a checkup, because they might be able to help you with some exercises where a few weeks or a few months down the road, you say, wow, I didn't know I was supposed to feel this great.
Right. Excellent.
Outstanding hour. Thank you, Olga.
Thank you, Olga.
It.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. This has been great.
And I know, Coach Carol, you have a closing quote for the day.
I do.
You're going to beat Wall Street to the closing quote today.
Exercise early in the morning before your brain figures out what you're doing. Have a great day, everybody.
Wonder if my brain will ever figure out what I'm doing. Someday I will. I don't know.